Up, Chris Lewis has a question with the portal. Let's get to that. Chris has got a question. With the portal, does potentially winning with a different player trump player school loyalty? Or are we losing that school? There is no loyalty. I don't think – I think that is going to be individual to the coach. I think you've got some coaches we've seen. Coaches are coaches, man. Some coaches are loyal. Some coaches are not. But you also have to understand the same thing I always say to everybody. You don't know what you don't know. Goes for all of us. What went on behind the scenes? What happened with that player was something you never know. And you're never going to know most of the time. That's the thing that people don't realize. You're never going to know the real story most of the time. I'm telling you. There's so many things right now that you don't know the real story to. And maybe Dylan. I mean, Dylan, there's certain things that there are details even go deeper that we end up not knowing about.
Right.
And then like details keep trickling out about things. It's there's one I'll talk to you about later. But yeah, it continues to go. Questions. Does Woody go after the stars or the penny in the rough? Man, he's going for the best players, whatever that means. He's going for the best players to make his team the best that he can make. The players that thinks that are the best athletes, the best basketball players, and will fit the system that they need to win. Period. Yeah. It's that simple, baby. Just win, baby. I just watched that again the other night. Love it. Love Al Davis. But it's just how many in the water.
I think that's an important point though with Woodson is that at least right now he inherited a roster with there is a fair amount of talent on that roster if you can get something out of it, and so he went about kind of filling the holes that they had. Like we talked about after everyone pulled their names out of the transfer portal, he talked about we need to go get a small forward, we need to go get a shooting guard. He went and got one. He got Tamar Bates from who decommitted from Texas, and then he went and got Miller Kopp from Northwestern. He filled those holes that he talked about. So basically, at this point, they have someone at just about every position to be able to, and they have depth now, which is important. I think they could use another big man, but with his system, I think they don't really need a back-to-the-basket guy if they don't want one. It's just a question of going out and filling the holes. And I think he's done a good job of that so far. He came in after kind of looking at what they have. He decided what they needed and went out and got it. And I think that's kind of what's really exciting is not only are they getting good players, they got players at positions of need. And I think that's exciting.
Well, and they're exciting players. That's going to bring exciting play. And I was kind of alluding to this earlier, and I didn't complete it. So Jeremy kind of brought it back around. Man, I wish I knew where everybody was from. I wish we could put like where they're from. I know a lot of them. Jeremy hit us up. I love that they have a good recruiter for each region. Fife is for this area. Oh, so he's up north. Hunter for out east and Rosemont for the south. And Mike Woodson, really, he can go anywhere. Seriously. And seriously, by anywhere, I mean anywhere. Inner city, country, it doesn't matter. He was a baller. He was a bad man. He's been in the league. He's coached the league. He played in the league. He's played with all these guys that were in the league. He's coached the guys that are still in the league. He has the respect of the guys that are in the league now. Julius Randle that we saw. There are many, many others. It's not just him. But these kids see that, man. That carries weight. That's their heroes. Those are their heroes right now. They're watching their guys playing. Well, if that's who they respect, that carries over.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's been the good thing. I mean, you talked about Julius Randle. We saw over the weekend where Mike Woodson went to that Knicks game, and basically the entire Knicks team made a point to go around there and say, hey, this is our guy, which I thought was really cool. And basically, Mike Woodson goes to talk to a recruit, goes to their home, turns on that tape, and says, "Hey, this is what guys who are in the league think of me. I'm going to get you there." That is that is a heck of a selling point for a guy who wants to get to the league and feels like he's good enough. And so that is a extremely good selling point for Woodson to have the respect of those guys. And I think that's going to be really important going forward. But I mean, the biggest thing is now that he has momentum, you got to keep it, right? You have to go out and win some games, have a good season this year, and then that momentum starts to build on itself. And that's going to be the key, because if you go out and have another mediocre season this year, then the momentum starts to wane a little bit. So you've got to go out and win this season.
Oh, absolutely. Just a little added info. Tim called the NCAA yesterday. There is no deadline to get out, up to the school's individual's deadline for registering. The only deadline is to enter the portal by July 1st. There you go. Well, that's a question. That answers the question right there. So if you're not in by July 1st, you're not changing teams.
Right.
So that means things will be set. We'll be set to go.
Essentially, yes. And then I suppose you could bring in walk-ons. Yeah. Yeah, Tim, thank you for calling the NCAA. I would like to know how long it took you to get to someone who could answer that question. I'm assuming they don't have the best customer service
at the
NCAA.
Tim is my statistician.
But yes. Yeah. So that's helpful to know.
Yeah, it is, because there are so many questions. The portal came about and it was like, what? And then all of a sudden it just blows up before we even really know all the ins and outs about it. And then rules change on top of that with this one-time transfer that man, having it all happen at once has made it crazy, partially, but we don't know so much about, a lot about it. But another comment, go ahead.
And I was going to say, because then it's going to change again here soon. If they pass name, image, and likeness, that's going to change the landscape significantly too. So
how can they not pass it?
Right. It seems it has not passed yet. It was going to pass earlier. There was some last gasp kind of opposition from a couple schools, and so I think they're going to pass that again here soon. And so people are kind of just waiting for that shoe to drop. Indiana. To Indiana's credit, they tried to get out in front of it a little bit and created the system for the players to maximize their brand while they're at Indiana, even before the NIL has started. So that's the whole thing. But that's going to change the recruiting landscape significantly as well. And some schools that are not prepared for that are probably going to be left behind, and they're going to need to get up to speed extremely quickly.